Hello and welcome to Campus Currents, where we help you navigate the tides of campus living. My name is Chloe Platt.
And my name is Abdullah El-Sherbeeny. Today we're here to recap some recent top Spectator stories.
Let's get into it. Across the nation, schools are now bracing for the possibility of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, activity on campus. Due to an order signed by President Donald Trump, ICE is now allowed to enter school campuses to make immigration arrests. ICE officers will still need a warrant to enter private areas of campus, including residence halls. However, ICE officers do not need a warrant to enter public parts of campus, including the student center and library. In response to the new policy, Seattle U is advising students, staff, and faculty to refuse ICE officers from entering non-public areas of campus. Instead, the school recommends directing ICE officers to the Office of University Counsel. Additionally, Seattle U is offering several resources to non-citizen students and their allies. The Mosaic Center is offering Undocu-Ally trainings to staff and faculty. These trainings help educate on how to better support undocumented students. The Seattle U Law School is also offering Know Your Rights workshops to students. These workshops help educate participants on immigration protections and legal tips.
It's been a cold February in Seattle. For the more than 16,000 people in King County experiencing homelessness, winter temperatures can be deadly. When paired with Seattle's rainy weather, cold temperatures can increase the risk of hypothermia for those who don't have access to shelter at night. While shelters in the area are at capacity and often only open doors during extreme weather, the Seattle community is stepping up with resources. One of these resources is Community Lunch, a nonprofit that provides free breakfast and lunch to those in need. The program has not only helped feed those in need, but build community as well. Suzanne Fry has been volunteering with Community Lunch for over 10 years. She said, quote, "I think it's really great for people to not only come in and have a hot meal with dessert and coffee, but also be able to sit with other people and chat," end quote. In addition to providing meals, Community Lunch also accepts and distributes donations, including furniture and self-care items. More information can be found at www.communitylunch.org. While winter brings about many dangers, it also brings about celebration.
That is so true, Abdullah. It means that my birthday is only 2 seasons away.
That's not quite what I was referring to.
No, of course not. That was stupid because who would even remember my birthday anyway?
Well, while Chloe grapples with the fear of being forgotten, let's talk about Lunar New Year on campus.
2025 means that it's a year of the snake, and Seattle University has been finding many ways to celebrate. We're going to be checking out some of the best ways on campus to celebrate the Lunar New Year.
So we're celebrating Lunar New Year. I grew up doing Chinese New Year with my family, and so I thought that it would be really fun to do that here. In Seattle U, I feel like we have a lot of different cultures, and I not only wanted to share my own, but I kind of wanted to also bring together other people who also kind of grew up doing that as well.
I think last year one of the things that students came for was really they wanted the food, and we didn't necessarily have too much food last year. So I think this year that's what we wanted to make sure is that we had some actual cultural food. Last year we just had noodles.
I mostly came to this event for the free food because I love food, but Lunar New Year means to me is family traditions. I'm Vietnamese, which means my family is mainly very Buddhist heavy, and so essentially in Lunar New Year we go to temples and we pray, and that would be our family tradition.
Lunar New Year to me means family and community and lots of food. And money, lots of money.
I really wanted to do the red envelope tradition because I remember when I was in school, I used to go to school in China, we would also get red envelopes and it would have chocolate coins in it as well. It's supposed to replace the cash that's supposed to be in there. And so I thought it would be a fun tradition to bring over.
Yeah, I really like the decorations. I think it's very New Year-ish.
And also seeing my friends and stuff. Even though I work for the Mosaic Center and I'm here all the time, it's just really fun to see who's coming in, who's coming out.
I'm glad that people showed up, and I was kind of worried that maybe people wouldn't be interested if they felt like they didn't participate in this tradition, personally, but I'm glad that that wasn't the case.
It was stressful leading up to it just because I want to make sure that this is an event that the community enjoys, and that brings together people who wouldn't typically be able to celebrate their New Year, especially if they're away from their families. So hopefully we get that for them.
Chúc mừng năm mới. That's it.
Voted February 11th on whether to pass Proposition 1A or 1B. These measures were different proposals of how to fund social housing in Seattle. Proposition 1A won with 58% of the vote over 1B. Proposition 1A will tax income over $1 million a year. All that money will head to the social housing developer to build affordable housing. The taxed funds will total over $52 million per year for the foreseeable future. Proposition 1B would have reallocated funds from a pool of money known as the payroll expense tax revenue. This is money that already exists from business taxes throughout Seattle. It would have allocated $10 million for the next 5 years to support social housing. Voters have decided that, for now, 1A is the way. The results of the special ballot will no doubt be a key factor in determining the future of affordable housing in the Seattle area.
With the recent implementation of tariffs by President Trump, managing editor Caleb is here to shed some light on what effects they may have.
The White House recently imposed a 10% tariff on all Chinese goods, and while some consumers may think that this will have an impact on goods that they buy, it's actually the possibility of tariffs on Mexican and Canadian goods that might have a bigger effect on consumers. President Donald Trump imposed the tariffs on February 1st, which are currently affecting the prices of several Chinese goods. However, these aren't the kind of goods that you can find in your local supermarket. Brian Kelly is an associate professor of economics at Seattle University.
So the Chinese send us a lot of producer goods, electrical machinery, and computers, and also the famous rare earth minerals. These will all become more expensive, making supply chains more expensive. They also send some consumer goods, but those are less important than you might think.
And while the tariffs on Chinese goods may not directly impact American consumers, the threat of tariffs on Mexican and Canadian goods will. On February 1st, President Trump also imposed 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian goods. While these tariffs have been paused since February 3rd, they could be implemented as soon as the first week of March. These tariffs have a higher chance of hurting American wallets, including for those in Washington state.
Relevant to Washington state, we bring in natural gas from Canada, so our natural gas prices might go up. Canada exports a lot of natural resources, for example, lumber. Canada is pretty closely integrated with the US economy, so you can name almost any production area and there will be some effect.
Additional goods that could be affected by tariffs include fruits, vegetables, and tree nuts from Mexico, and gasoline and car parts from Canada. These tariffs are paid for by the importer, which means that it is up to them to decide how to raise prices. From The Spectator, I'm Caleb Stipkovits.
Well, Abdullah, I am terrified of the implication of Trump's policies.
Yeah, I don't feel terrific about the future.
Let's tariff. Well, now let's tariff. Let's get into A&E.
The Voices Off Lounge, Seattle's brand new holding space for the deaf community in Capitol Hill, has only one real rule. As written on a sign in the entrance, Voices Off, please. Visitors are free to sign, gesture, write, and type, but in order to create an entirely safe and resourceful space that centers the deaf community, Voices Off requests that no one communicate verbally. Voices Off Lounge is open for drop-in visits from 12 to 8 p.m., Wednesday through Sunday. In addition to their publicly open hours, Voices Off offers ASL classes for learners of all levels, including specialized classes such as those aimed at the LGBTQIA+ community. They plan to host frequent special events, so be sure to check those out if you're interested.
Breakaway Vintage Market, located right down Pine Street, is a one-of-a-kind shop that draws shoppers from all over Seattle with its large, curated selection of vintage clothing and accessories. 6 years ago, a group of friends set out to sell vintage clothing and items. What started as garage sales and pop-ups slowly made its way through Tacoma and eventually into Seattle. That small idea has now grown into Breakaway Vintage Market, a thriving brick-and-mortar shop built on years of dedication and hustle. A lot of people who walk into the shop aren't necessarily looking for clothes. For many, it's a place to hang out, meet like-minded people, or just chill and enjoy the mix of music playing throughout the store. The late-night vintage mall community also includes a variety of vendors who get to share their own interests within the store, bringing a bigger sense of community to the space. The market is a spot that invites people to connect over shared interests and discover something new, whether through the items on the shelves or the atmosphere that surrounds them.
Rabbit Box Theater, located underneath Pike Place Market, is an intimate yet open space that places visitors between the pages of a storybook. Patrons can decide whether their adventure involves sharing a drink with drag queens, jamming out with fellow jazz musicians, or getting their fortune told by a dragon and his taxidermist mouse companion. The Rabbit Box has been a community space with the focus of literary and music events since its opening in 2022. The venue gets its name from 1970 Joseph Pintoro book by the same name. Owner Robin Hawthorne, who was a teacher for 20 years, values maintaining the Rabbit Box as space for all ages. Within the whimsical walls of the Rabbit Box, one can expect to find all things strange, wonderful, and heartfelt. The Rabbit Box is one of the many establishments holding up the foundation of Pike Place Market, both literally and figuratively.
Are you a fan of jazz, Abdullah?
Does this answer your question?
Nice. You know, I used to use jazz hands when I was a cheerleader.
I didn't know you were a cheerleader. I'm guessing you know a lot about football?
Not at all. Maybe that's why I don't cheer anymore. But you know who does know about football?
Who's that?
Our reporters. Let's get into sports. The Philadelphia Eagles emerged victorious over the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59. The dream of the Chiefs' three-peat is dead, buried beneath a brutally embarrassing 40-22 final score. Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts put on a dominant performance. Hurts, ever humble, gave credit to his teammates and acknowledged his past loss to the Chiefs in a post-game press conference. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was out of his element February 9th. Mahomes threw 2 interceptions before the half, making the score 24-0 going into halftime. The second half was more of the same. The Chiefs mustered a minor offensive effort, with their first score coming late in the third quarter on a 24-yard touchdown pass. Still, the Eagles were out of reach. The manner in which the Chiefs lost this Super Bowl comes as poetic justice for football fans across the United States. In the Red Kingdom, there was nothing to do but turn the TV off. The euphoria of victory rolled on for Philadelphia February 14th with the team's victory parade. All eyes are on Patrick Mahomes next season, waiting to see if he can come back from this agonizing defeat.
The Seattle U men's tennis team recently took on the Sacramento State Hornets for the third home match of the 2025 season. The Redhawks were able to take the victory, winning points in both their doubles and singles matches. Tennis may not draw the same crowds as other sports, but the team showed each other made up for that. With the team being so senior dominated, many of the athletes have been playing together since the beginning of their collegiate careers. This season can be seen as a farewell tour for the Redhawks. It was announced that November 14th, 2024, that the men's tennis program at Seattle U, along with the men's and women's indoor track program, will be discontinued after the 2024-2025 season. With 7 of the 9 players on the team graduating this year, the team is looking to be as successful as possible while enjoying their final season together.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be the biggest in its 126-year history. 48 teams will take part in games across 16 different cities in Mexico, Canada, and the United States. For the first time, Seattle will be hosting 4 group stage and 2 knockout round matches at Lumen Field. Seattle's last time hosting a major sporting event was the 2023 MLB All-Stars game. The event was expected to bring over $50 million in economic impact to Seattle, though businesses in the Chinatown and Pioneer Square neighborhoods said they didn't benefit from visitors. Questions also arose surrounding sweeps done around the stadium for homeless people before the event. To address these issues, an initiative has been launched to help connect local businesses to resources that will bring them more visitors. Representatives from SoDo and Pioneer Square state that more resources are becoming available to help unhoused members of the community. With many questions still surrounding the summer of 2026 and beyond, the World Cup is expected to be a once-in-a-lifetime event that will be celebrated for decades to come.
And that's all for this episode of Campus Currents.
To read more, check out our website, seattlespectator.com. Until next time,
Stay current, Red Hawks.